The Vorlax ruled the stars for over 3,000 years. These giant aliens stood 12 feet tall with tough armor-like skin and sharp claws. They were the top hunters in space, and no one could stop them. Their simple rule was, eat the weak or make them slaves. They had defeated thousands of alien races. Some became food, others became servants. The Vorlax never knew what fear felt like. Commander Zexthul was a famous war leader of the Vorlax 13th Fleet. His ships had conquered many worlds. One day, his sensors picked up strange signals from a yellow star system. The scans showed a species called humans who had just begun traveling between stars. These humans had only settled a few nearby planets. What are these creatures like? Zexthul asked his science officer. They are small, soft-bodied omnivores, the officer replied. They have no natural armor, no claws, and limited strength. Perfect for harvesting. Zexthul looked at the images of Earth on his main screen. The blue-green planet seemed peaceful and unprotected. His mandibles clicked with pleasure at the thought of an easy conquest. Prepare the invasion fleet, he ordered. We will begin standard harvesting procedures. The massive Vorlax ships moved silently toward Earth. In their long history of conquest, they had developed a perfect system. First, they would destroy all communication satellites. Then they would position ships above major cities. Finally, they would send down harvesters to collect humans for processing. On the bridge of his command ship, Zexthul watched his officers prepare for battle. None of them seemed worried. Why should they be? This was just another routine harvest. Commander, his tactical officer reported, Earth has primitive defense systems. They have nuclear weapons and some energy-based defenses, but nothing that can harm our ships. Good, Zexthul said. Begin the approach. We will strike at their largest population centers first. The Vorlax ships entered Earth's solar system, their massive engines pushing them quickly past the outer planets. Soon they reached Mars, then slipped into Earth's orbit. Still, they detected no major defensive response. These humans don't even know we're here, one officer said with disappointment. I was hoping for at least some resistance. Zexthul rose from his command chair, his huge form casting a shadow across the bridge. They will know soon enough, he said. Send the signal to all ships. Begin the harvest. Across the fleet, Vorlax warriors prepared their weapons and harvest pods. They had done this thousands of times before on thousands of worlds. Not one of them imagined that this small blue planet would be any different. Not one of them knew that humans were unlike any prey they had ever encountered. Not one of them could imagine that soon, for the first time in their history, the great Vorlax would learn what it meant to be afraid. The Vorlax attack began exactly as planned. Giant ships moved into position above Earth's major cities. With a single command, they destroyed the planet's satellite network. Humans lost their phones, internet, and most communication systems in minutes. Begin the harvest, Commander Zexthul ordered from his command ship. Large metal pods dropped from the Vorlax ships toward Earth. Each pod held 20 warrior harvesters, ready to gather humans for processing. The first pods landed in New York, Tokyo, London, and other big cities. Zexthul watched on the main screen as his warriors stepped out onto Earth's surface. He expected to see humans running away in terror. That's what prey always did. But something strange happened. In New York, a police officer emptied his gun at the approaching aliens. The bullets bounced off their tough skin, but the officer didn't run. More humans joined him, firing whatever weapons they had. Commander, the communication officer called out. The harvesters in Tokyo are reporting resistance. Zexthul clicked his mandibles in surprise. What kind of resistance? The humans are fighting back. Similar reports came in from around the world. In London, civilians rammed buses into the harvest pods. In Rio de Janeiro, people threw homemade bombs at the warriors. In Mumbai, thousands of humans surrounded a harvester group, attacking with whatever they could find. This is not normal prey behavior, Zexthul said. They should be running. 6 hours into the invasion, the first Vorlax warrior died. It happened in Moscow, where soldiers fired an anti-tank missile at a harvester. The explosion found a weak spot in the alien's armor. Zexthul couldn't believe the report. "Check again," he ordered. "Our warriors don't die to primitive weapons." But more reports followed. In Beijing, humans had captured a harvester's weapon and turned it against the aliens. In Cairo, they set traps that caught 3 warriors. By the end of the first day, 17 Vorlax were dead. It was a tiny number compared to their forces, but shocking for a species used to 0 casualties during harvests. "The humans are communicating somehow," the tactical officer reported. "They're sharing information about our weaknesses." Zexthul watched the screens showing battles around the world. He saw a human child throw a rock at a 12-foot Vorlax warrior. The rock bounced harmlessly off, but other humans followed with more dangerous attacks. "What is wrong with these creatures?" he asked. "Don't they understand they can't win?" "Sir," his second-in-command said quietly, "I've never seen prey fight like this." That night, Zexthul watched recordings from the surface. One video showed a single human soldier running straight at a harvester group. The human was carrying explosives and blew himself up, taking 2 warriors with him. As he watched this, Zexthul felt something strange in his mind, a new feeling he had never experienced before. He didn't know it yet, but humans would teach him its name: doubt. 3 weeks had passed since the Vorlax invasion began. Commander Zexthul stood before the giant map of Earth in his command room. Red dots showed areas under Vorlax control. There weren't many red dots. Only 17% of the planet's surface is secured, his tactical officer reported. "This is the slowest harvest in our recorded history." Zexthul slammed his claw on the table. "How is this possible? They are soft creatures with primitive weapons." "Sir, they are adapting," the officer said carefully. "They watch how we fight, then change their methods." Miles below the alien ships, in an underground bunker near Boston, Dr. Eliza Chen worked with a team of scientists and military leaders. Once a professor who taught game theory at MIT, she now led Earth's Alien Combat Analysis Unit. "The Vorlax always attack in the same patterns," Dr. Chen explained, pointing to video clips of alien movements. "They've never needed to change because they've never failed before. This makes them predictable." General Williams frowned. "Predictable or not, their technology is far beyond ours." "True," Dr. Chen nodded, "but we've captured some of their weapons. Look what we found." She showed the group a Vorlax communication device. "They have no encryption, no security. They've never needed it because no prey species has ever been smart enough to use their technology against them." Across the world, humans shared information. Soldiers discovered that Vorlax couldn't see well in heavy rain. Civilians found that certain high-pitched sounds confused the aliens. Engineers worked to understand alien technology. Back on his ship, Zexthul received disturbing reports. "Humans in the Australia region have disabled a harvester ship and captured its weapons," an officer reported. "How?" Zexthul demanded. "They tricked the crew. They pretended to surrender, then attacked when our warriors relaxed their guard." Zexthul couldn't understand this. Deception was not a hunting tactic his species used. They relied on strength and speed, not trickery. More reports came in. Humans in Europe had discovered how to jam Vorlax communications. Forces in Asia had found weak points in harvester armor. A group in Africa had even managed to bring down a small Vorlax ship. "Sir," his second-in-command said, "I believe the humans are communicating globally, sharing what they learn about us." Zexthul stared at the battle reports with growing unease. This strange feeling, this doubt, was becoming stronger. In her bunker, Dr. Chen made a breakthrough. "Their communication system uses a simple frequency pattern," she told her team. "We can hijack it and listen to their plans, maybe even send false orders." She looked at the captured Vorlax technology spread across her lab table. They've never faced a species that fights back like we do. They've never needed to evolve beyond basic predator tactics. As Zexthul reviewed the latest failure reports in his chamber, a new feeling stirred in his mind. If he were human, he would recognize it immediately. Fear. The greatest predators in the galaxy were learning that sometimes the prey bites back. 6 months had passed since the Vorlax first attacked Earth. Much of the planet was damaged, with cities in ruins and millions of people dead. But something unexpected had happened. Human civilization hadn't collapsed. Instead, it had changed and become stronger. Countries that were once enemies now fought together. Scientists from different nations shared their discoveries. Regular people became fighters, using whatever they could find against the aliens. In a deep underground base that was once called NORAD, Dr. Chen worked on her most important project yet. "We call it Project Chimera," she told the world leaders on her video screen. "We've studied the Vorlax biology from captured and killed specimens. They have weaknesses we can target." She held up a small device. "This weapon releases a gas that affects their nervous system. It won't kill them, but it will cause them pain and confusion." On the other side of the world, in Rwanda, engineers worked on captured Vorlax ships. They had learned how the alien engines worked and were adding this technology to human aircraft. In Japan, scientists had broken into the aliens' communication network and could now listen to all their plans. On his command ship, Zexthul received bad news every day. His superiors in the Vorlax Empire demanded answers. "Why is this harvest taking so long?" the Imperial commander asked during their communication. "No species has ever resisted us for more than 1 month. These humans are different," Zexthul tried to explain. "They work together in ways we've never seen." "Explain," demanded the Imperial commander. Zexthul showed video footage of a recent battle. A Vorlax warrior had cornered a group of humans. One human stepped forward, drawing the warrior's attention while others escaped. The human was killed, but saved his companions. "They sacrificed themselves for others," Zexthul said. "This makes no sense in nature. Prey should try to save itself, not die for others." The Imperial commander's eyes narrowed. "You sound impressed by these creatures." "Not impressed," Zexthul said quickly. "Confused. They don't behave like normal prey." After the communication ended, Zexthul watched more battle footage. He saw humans using Vorlax weapons against his troops. They had not only taken the weapons but learned to use them effectively. A strange thought entered his mind. What if these humans weren't prey at all? What if they were something else entirely? That night, Zexthul experienced something no Vorlax commander had ever felt before: doubt about winning a war. His species had conquered thousands of worlds without a single defeat, but these humans with their soft bodies and strange ways of fighting, they were changing the rules of the hunt. For the first time, the greatest predators in the galaxy wondered if they might actually lose. 1 year had passed since the Vorlax invasion began. On this day, humans were ready to launch their biggest attack yet. They called it Operation Hydra. Dr. Chen stood in the command center, surrounded by military leaders from around the world. "All teams are in position," General Williams reported. "Everyone is ready." Dr. Chen nodded. "Begin Operation Hydra." Across the planet, at exactly the same time, human forces attacked the Vorlax. They used Dr. Chen's special weapon that targeted the aliens' nervous system. The effect was immediate and devastating. In New York, Vorlax warriors fell to the ground, their bodies shaking in pain. In Cairo, harvesters dropped their weapons as the gas filled the air. In Tokyo, entire squads of aliens collapsed. For the first time ever, the mighty Vorlax were experiencing real pain. But Operation Hydra wasn't just happening on the ground. In space, something new appeared. Earth had built its own space fleet using captured Vorlax technology. Colonel Toshiro Yamamoto led the human space force. His ships were smaller than the alien vessels, but moved in ways the Vorlax had never seen before. Human pilots use tricks and maneuvers that confuse the alien ships. They expect us to attack directly like they do, Colonel Yamamoto told his pilots. Instead, we will use deception and teamwork. Some human ships pretended to retreat, then turned back to attack when the Vorlax pursued them. Others worked in teams, with one ship drawing attention while others attacked from behind. On his command ship, Zexthul watched in horror as his fleet suffered heavy losses. 20 Vorlax ships had already been destroyed, with more under attack. This cannot be happening, he said to himself. No prey species has ever attacked us in space. His communication officer approached nervously. Commander, should we retreat? The word shocked Zexthul. Retreat. The Vorlax had never retreated from any battle in their entire history. But as he watched more of his ships explode, Zexthul made a decision no Vorlax commander had ever made before. He sent an emergency message to the Empire. Invasion failing. Request permission to retreat and regroup. The response came quickly and was just what he feared. Retreat denied. Failure equals consumption. Continue the harvest or face punishment. In Vorlax society, leaders who failed were eaten by their superiors. That was the law of their predator culture. Zexthul now found himself trapped between two terrible choices: continue fighting a war he was losing or retreat and be killed by his own kind. As he watched humans coordinate their attacks with surprising skill, a strange idea came to his mind. To survive, he would need to think differently. He would need to think like prey. For the first time in their history, the galaxy's greatest predators were learning a new emotion: desperation. Something strange was happening within the Vorlax forces. As Operation Hydra pushed them back on multiple fronts, Commander Zexthul began to change his tactics. For the first time in their long history, the Vorlax were adapting. We must stop fighting like predators, Zexthul told his officers. It is not working against these humans. His officers stared at him in shock. Fighting like predators was all they knew. It was in their blood, their instincts. Watch how the humans fight, Zexthul continued. They use deception. They coordinate their attacks. They protect their weak members instead of leaving them behind. Slowly, the Vorlax began to try new tactics. Instead of always attacking directly, they set traps. Instead of fighting alone, they worked in teams. They even started using simple codes in their communications, something they had never needed before. Dr. Chen noticed the change first. She watched video footage of recent battles and saw the difference in Vorlax behavior. They're learning from us, she told the Earth Defense Council. They're beginning to use our tactics against us. General Williams frowned. Is that bad? It's concerning, Dr. Chen replied. If they keep their physical strength but start thinking strategically like us, this war could turn again. On his command ship, Zexthul experienced something no Vorlax had ever known, a moment of deep thought about himself and his species. Why had the Empire never met resistance like this before? The answer came clearly: because they had always attacked weaker species. They had never faced a species that could think and adapt like humans. This realization changed something in his brain. New neural connections formed as he considered ideas that no Vorlax had ever thought before. What if physical strength wasn't the only kind of strength? What if the ability to adapt was actually more powerful in the long run? As Zexthul implemented strategies copied from human tactics, his officers watched him with mixed feelings. Some thought he was betraying their predator nature. Others saw the wisdom in his new approach as their losses decreased. One young officer named Krevnax approached Zexthul privately. "Commander, I understand what you are trying to do," he said. "The humans have taught us something important, haven't they?" Zexthul looked at his officer with new eyes. "Yes, they have taught us that evolution isn't just about being the strongest. It's about being able to change when you need to." Unknown to both humans and the Vorlax Empire, a revolution was beginning within the invasion force. The predators who had known no fear were not just learning to fear humans. They were learning from them. And in doing so, They were becoming something new, something that neither pure predator nor pure prey had ever been before. 18 months after the invasion began, the Vorlax Empire finally realized something was seriously wrong. No harvest had ever taken this long. The Supreme Hunter Kovacs called an emergency meeting of the Imperial Council. The 13th Fleet has failed to conquer a simple planet of soft-bodied creatures, Kovacs told the council members. And worse, Commander Zex Thul's reports show strange thinking patterns. He speaks of learning from prey. The council members clicked their mandibles in disgust. Such ideas went against everything the Vorlax believed. There is only one solution, Kovacs decided. We will send the Imperial First Fleet to Earth. They will destroy both the humans and the 13th Fleet. Zex Thul's damaged thinking must not spread. The Imperial First Fleet was 5 times larger than Zex Thul's 13th Fleet. It was the most powerful force in the galaxy, with ships that could destroy entire continents. Back on Earth, Dr. Chen was working with her team when an urgent message arrived. They had broken the Vorlax communication codes and could listen to all their transmissions. Dr. Chen, you need to hear this, her assistant said, playing a recording of the Imperial Council meeting. As she listened to the Vorlax plans, Dr. Chen's face grew pale. We need to inform the Defense Council immediately. The Empire is sending a much larger fleet to destroy Earth, and Zex Thul's forces too. In the emergency meeting that followed, Earth's leaders argued about what to do. We can barely hold off the current invasion force, General Williams said. How can we fight a fleet 5 times larger? Colonel Yamamoto, leader of Earth's space forces, stood up. There might be another way. We need to contact Commander Zex Thul. The room fell silent. Contact the enemy leader. It seemed crazy. The Empire plans to destroy his fleet along with us, Yamamoto explained. We might have a common enemy now. After heated debate, Earth's leaders agreed to try. They sent a direct message to Zex Thul's ship, explaining the Empire's plan to destroy both humans and the 13th Fleet. On his command ship, Zex Thul read the human message with shock. At first, he didn't believe it. But when he checked recent transmissions from the Empire, he found the truth. His own kind had sentenced him to death. What should we do, Commander? Asked Krevnax, who had become his trusted advisor. Zex Thul stared at the human message for a long time. In the old days, he would have ignored it and fought to the death for his empire. But his mind had changed. He had learned to think beyond simple predator instincts. Contact the humans, he finally said. Tell them I wish to meet with their leaders. Krevnax's eyes widened. You're considering working with prey? No, Zex Thul replied. I'm considering working with equals. The meeting took place on the dark side of the moon. No place on Earth seemed safe enough for both sides. 3 small ships landed on the gray dust. 2 human vessels and 1 Vorlax shuttle. Commander Zex Thul stepped out of his shuttle, towering over the humans who came to meet him. Dr. Chen led the human delegation, along with Colonel Yamamoto and General Williams. I never thought I would speak with prey instead of hunting them, Zex Thul said. Dr. Chen stood tall despite her small size compared to the alien. And we never thought we would talk with creatures who try to eat us. Yet here we are. Inside a temporary structure, both groups shared what they knew. The humans showed the Imperial First Fleet arrived with overwhelming force. Their massive ships darkened Earth's skies as they moved into position. Supreme Hunter Kovacs stood on the bridge of his command ship, looking down at the blue planet. Begin the cleansing, he ordered. Destroy everything. The battle that followed would be remembered for thousands of years throughout the galaxy. Kovacs used traditional Vorlax tactics. Direct assault, overwhelming force, and no mercy. But waiting for him was something the Empire had never faced before. Humans and Vorlax fighting together. Colonel Yamamoto's ships moved in ways the Imperial fleet couldn't predict. Using tactics developed with Zex Thul, the smaller Earth vessels confused the larger Imperial ships. When the Imperial warriors expected a direct attack, the humans circled around. When they expected retreat, the humans charged forward. "They don't understand our tactics," Yamamoto told his pilots. "Use that confusion against them." On Earth's surface, human Vorlax teams fought against Imperial landing parties. Dr. Chen's special weapons affected the Imperial warriors' nervous systems, leaving them vulnerable to attack. Human soldiers fought alongside Zexthul's warriors, each protecting the other. Kovacs couldn't believe what he was seeing. Prey and predator fighting together. This is against nature. The turning point came when Zexthul himself led a special mission. With a team of humans and loyal Vorlax, he boarded Kovacs's command ship. Fighting through waves of Imperial warriors, they reached the bridge. Kovacs faced Zexthul with rage. "You have betrayed your kind. You fight with food instead of eating it." "I fight with allies," Zexthul replied. "Something you could never understand." According to ancient Vorlax tradition, leadership could be challenged through direct combat. Zexthul challenged Kovacs to such a fight. The two massive aliens faced each other while humans and Vorlax warriors watched. Kovacs was bigger and stronger than Zexthul. He attacked with pure predator rage, slashing with his claws and snapping with his jaws. But Zexthul fought differently. He used strategy instead of just strength. He watched for patterns in Kovacs's attacks, just as humans had taught him. When Kovacs charged forward, Zexthul stepped aside and struck at the Supreme Hunter's weak spots. It was a fighting style no Vorlax had used before, a combination of predator strength and prey cleverness. Kovacs couldn't understand what was happening as Zexthul's claws found the vulnerable spots between his armor plates. The Supreme Hunter fell to his knees, defeated by a Vorlax who fought with human tactics. Throughout the Imperial fleet, warriors felt the neural shock of their Supreme Hunter's defeat. A predator species built on dominance had just watched its leader fall to a corrupted commander. As Kovacs collapsed, Zexthul looked not to his fellow Vorlax, but to the humans on the bridge. They nodded with respect at their unlikely ally who had learned to be more than just a predator. After Supreme Hunter Kovacs's defeat, the remaining Imperial ships retreated. They returned to the Empire to report the unbelievable news. The mighty Vorlax had been defeated by prey, and worse, some of their own kind had fought alongside these humans. Earth had survived, but at great cost. Many cities lay in ruins. Millions had died. The planet would need years to recover. As the dust settled, a new question arose. What would happen to Zexthul and his Vorlax warriors? They could not return to the Empire. They were now outcasts, considered corrupted by human ideas. 5 years passed. In that time, something remarkable happened. Under Zexthul's leadership, the Vorlax of the 13th Fleet continued their evolution. Their brains developed new pathways as they learned concepts like cooperation and empathy. Some Vorlax chose to live among humans. Their great strength helped rebuild destroyed cities. Their advanced knowledge improved Earth's technology. In return, humans taught them art, music, and ideas beyond hunting and consuming. Dr. Chen worked closely with Zexthul during these years. Together, they created something revolutionary: the first human Vorlax children. These were not natural offspring, but genetically engineered beings who combined the best qualities of both species, human creativity with Vorlax strength. They represent a new way forward, Dr. Chen explained at the presentation of the first hybrid children. Neither predator nor prey, but something entirely new. As Earth recovered, humans began to look outward again. With Vorlax technology, they built better ships that could travel faster between stars. Human Vorlax crews explored nearby systems, where they made a discovery: other species living under Vorlax Empire control. One by one, these worlds were freed. The unique alliance of former predator and prey showed enslaved species that another way was possible. Many joined what became known as the Coalition of Free Worlds. The Empire did not accept these changes quietly. Reports came that they were building an even larger fleet for a final attack against Earth and its allies. When news reached Earth of the coming invasion, Neither humans nor their Vorlax allies responded with fear. Together, they had become something the galaxy had never seen before. At a meeting of the coalition leaders, Zexthul spoke words that would be remembered for centuries. The Empire still thinks this is about strength alone. They haven't learned what humans taught us, that true power comes not from being the perfect predator, but from becoming something more than what you were born to be. As the coalition prepared to defend their free worlds, humans and Vorlax stood side by side. The greatest predators in the galaxy had indeed learned to fear humans, but more importantly, they had learned from them. Together, they had created a future that neither species could have imagined alone.